Culture Committee. And I'm going to ask Councilor Fishing Hawk if she would offer the prayer today.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Please protect all families represented here today. Keep your kind and protective hand over the nation, the United States, and everybody in harm's way. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Amen.
Next is roll call.
Julia Coates.
Here.
John Barger. Bill England. Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Bradley Cobb.
Honey.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishing Hawk.
Here.
Meredith Fraley. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Here. Chuck Hoskin Jr. Tyler Jordan.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton.
Present.
Kara Callan Watts. We do have a quorum.
All right. Thank you. Before we go on, I guess just to announce to those counselors who were not in the working group meeting that if they would like, there are documents about housing that are up here. If you didn't receive one as part of that working group, you can get one up here. So just to state that. Next, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 12th meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we'll move on to our reports. We have a rather full agenda today because we have a presentation later as well as a cultural tourism presentation. So we have the reports in our book, and I would just ask if there are questions that counselors have on any of these reports, if they would... how are we going to do this? If we could state them right now, I guess, on any of the reports. Councilman Baker.
Madam Chairman, I realize we've got things to do, but maybe we could give each of the presenters the opportunity to tell us anything new that has taken place or anything of importance besides any questions.
Beyond what is already in the report?
Beyond
Okay.
what's in the report.
Okay, I think that's a good suggestion. So we can. Ms. Kelly from Career Services, things that are not in the report, perhaps?
We have pulled this backwards for a reason. This is right.
Marvin liked it that way.
Okay, well, I'm going to pull it back so that way I can see everybody. As the chair lady said, we do have a report. If you've got questions, I do have a couple of handouts, and these are follow-ups from the Executive and Finance. You asked that I report in the Education Committee meeting some information. Dr. Cobb asked that we give a report on our efforts in going out with the football. Here's the report. They've gone to 2 football games, and this was a summary, and they've got another game plan this Friday. It's been very well received. The other was the Summer Youth Leadership Program. I'm glad we gave you this report. There was 556 summer youth kids instead of 426. And here's the report on that. You asked for how many were by age, and that's broken down by age, and it kind of gives you a rundown of the number of participants. And we don't need to go into the money situation that was dealt with in the budget hearings, but this is to kind of give you a rundown of how many kids we serve and the ones that were Cherokee. The only other thing I want to bring you up to date on is that Talking League's Job Corps was notified 2 weeks ago that we're going to have a review. They came up with some money for 3 centers to get reviewed. They haven't reviewed us this last year. They came in fall of 07. So Treasure Lake and Roswell and Talking Leagues are the 3 that they're going to review before the end of the fiscal year, so they're coming next week. They'll be here all week. We're doing some moving around over at the center at some of the recommendations that they made to bring us more in line with the normative culture that the national director is proposing with all centers. Regional director is requesting moves be made at all of the centers in her region. So some of them are from the top down, some are from all over. So we're strengthening and building our management team in our residential setting as well as in our recreation area. and in our academic area. So we're looking forward to working with the regional office next week to enhance our ability to perform. And we think that we will be at capacity, if not past the number for students. We're bringing in extra beds because if the numbers are accurate, we will probably go over our quota within the next 2 weeks. So our center will be at capacity, if not past that. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Morton, do you have additional items?
Do not have anything new. I think we've covered most of my report and budget hearing. If any questions are, I'd be happy to.
Mr. Soap?
Yeah, I've got 2 questions, Dr. Morton. One is regarding the are there any funds available for groups that would be available to teach Cherokee classes, like at a church or anything like that? Is there anything in your department or programs that somebody might be able to get some type of program?
Or we could provide a teacher and some materials.
Maybe meet once or twice a week. At say like a local church, and they just maybe teach an hour. Is there anything that you might be able to advise somebody towards that type of application? Or?
Actually, we can provide the teacher and the materials for ordinarily it's a 10-week session.
Yeah, and it's really not geared towards that. I mean, I've seen those types of programs. I think what I'm and those are mainly for beginner type speakers. What I'm interested in is, a program that might be available for somebody that would come and just be available for either conversational type language events or whatnot. I was just curious. I just see an opportunity there at some of the local churches to start or wherever community events. And I was just wondering who might fund those types of
Actually,
programs.
we can do that program.
Okay.
Using some of the same people that we use, just change the teaching mode where they would just be available. Or in some instances it may be more appropriate to contract with someone in the community.
That's probably a little more what I was talking about.
We can do that under the umbrella of that same community-based language program.
Okay. And then the second question was on the immersion program. How many people are like don't meet guidelines? Or I guess my question is, how many applicants do you turn away for that program?
Actually, as for citizenship reasons or for language reasons?
Both. I mean, just for the immersion program, I'm sure that you got, is that an application process? Or?
Yes. Application process, and the program is changing so that we can fast track some students. We have not let anyone enroll above the kindergarten level. In other words, third grader coming in with the other third graders in most instances would be far behind.
Right.
However, we are starting a fast track type system where we can take persons that are really, really interested in and will devote some time, with the parents or grandparents will devote some time to help them, and go ahead and put them in third grade and try to fast track them forward. We think in an immersion setting that they'll pick it up very, very quickly.
So I guess then we're not talking about the upper grades. We're talking just mainly in the kindergarten or the beginning.
Yeah. To my knowledge, we haven't turned anyone away.
Okay,
Samantha, are you aware of any students that we?
No, we had a parent request yesterday. They're coming in to interview Friday. They're actually Lakota Sioux. The mother is Lakota Sioux, but she was very interested in her child getting that language in Cherokee. So they're coming in to tour the facility.
So is it safe to assume that basically all the people that are interested and apply to the immersion program, that's it? There's nobody that's turned away? where there's no other additional assumed interest
No.
in learning the language in the emergent setting, and so that's it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Hoffman?
I had a question with respect to the study that's going to be done as far as the scholarships go. That your department will do the study and report back to us.
I did check on, there were some questions last time on the dropout rate. We're still working on that so that it'll be a little more meaningful to you, whether or not they're freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. We do know that from the fall semester to spring semester, we lose about 20%. The majority of those are freshman and sophomore level. I have a feeling, but that feeling is not even good unless you have some facts and figures to back it up, that the sophomore dropouts were primarily driven by the economy. And hopefully with the new appropriation, that expenses will not be quite so acute as before. We do not have Verna here today. There are some representatives of the Head Start program from the federal level that are here visiting today. So I may be slipping out a little early to go meet with them. They were to arrive at 1 today. So.
Mr. Baker?
Yes. Since Dr. Sly is on annual leave this week, we've had discussed our chief's markings and purchasing the markers for them, and also having programs at each of the cemeteries about the chiefs. Well, a friend of mine had done a program on chiefs, so we actually have a handout. If I could get Jennifer to help passing them out, so that a lot of the work that we wanted to do for this has already been done for us. I just wanted to pass this out on our chiefs, and then it'll move forward with our program. And that's all that I have.
Okay. You need to know who paid for it. Are there any other questions with Dr. Morton? And Ms. Thompson is not here today. Is there anyone from Head Start here today?
No, they're all at
So we have the report in here. And Dr. Butler Allen's as well, I think, is, oh no, there you are. Didn't see you back there, sorry.
Just have a couple of handouts for you all today. This is our calendar of events for the year, so that you all can pass around and spread throughout your communities and your constituents. Going around to my left is the calendar of events, and then I will pass this on. This is a little synopsis of our special projects. These are the programs that you all fund. So we're really excited about them because they've grown exponentially over the past years that we've been putting these on. So we're very proud of that. I'd like you to look at the calendar. In the month of the latter part of August and the first part of September, we've been really getting prepared for our Cultural Resource Fair, which will take place this Friday. There are 21 invited vendors, and the vendors will be providing resources, culturally appropriate teaching resources and tools for the classroom. Each of the school districts will receive a $750 voucher to spend at the resource fair on Friday. So it's a real win-win. The schools get some good, significant teaching tools for their classrooms in their Cherokee curriculum. And the cottage industry people within our 14-county area have been selected and invited to participate in this. So we've had a really good response from that. It's been very successful, and this is our third year doing it. So we're gearing up for that for Friday. And then the next Thursday, we'll be conducting our fall administrators workshop. So I just wanted to point that out to you all. Are there any questions? What up?
Thank you. Next is Sequoia High School. Gina Sanders.
Madam Chair, good afternoon. You all have my report. Just a couple of things that I would like to add. We were notified last week that we are receiving an award for excellence in special education, which will be awarded this Friday in Chicago. I have a staff that will be up there attending a training and will receive that award for us on our behalf. I've been working with Mr. Ando on developing a band program, so our starter program should be up and ready to go by the next term. And real quick, I'm very proud of, we've been doing some follow-up statistics on our last year's graduating class just to see where we're at. And of the 89 graduates, 75 of those are in college right now. 5 of them are in a vocational or technical training program. 3 of them are in the military. 2 are employed, and there's still 4 that we got to track down. So hopefully that graduation rate will go up. But 84% of a class to go on to post-secondary education is pretty phenomenal. So we're quite proud of that. And we just completed a walkway and a bridge that connects immersion to the school at the track and practice field area. And then just wanted to announce that we had a very successful luncheon that we hosted for the legislative folks that came out during the holiday. That went very well. And I remember Dr. Morton telling us that the NIEA president was going to be there, but I wasn't. We were just getting ready for it and planning a program. And did a quick summary of what our school is, a little video that we have, and then a PowerPoint on some of our accomplishments. And from that, he did actually ask us to present at NIEA and present at the hearings that are coming up. I think the closest one will be in Edmond. So pretty nice to have those folks there. I had a lot of really positive comments, and it went really well. Any questions?
Questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Sly is not here, is that correct? And next we have a special report from Cultural Tourism. This body had asked for quarterly progress reports, updates essentially on the project. So Molly is here.
Good afternoon, and Tilicia's here with me also in case there are more detailed questions.
Okay.
Then I'm prepared. Do you have a copy? I believe a report was distributed prior to the meeting, but we do have copies for everyone today. I just wanted to touch on a couple of high points there, that we completed our summer pilot tours in August with approximately 400 plus guests on those tours during the summer. And you'll see in the report, a couple bullets down, we have included some information about the economic impact of some of those tours on some of the sites and communities. Further down, we are looking into some stabilization issues at the Saline Courthouse. I know there have been several questions about that, and we do have a structural engineer working with our construction group to go out and look at the stabilization of that site. Our 2009 public tours will start on November 1st, and we are targeting some motor coach groups for those programs. Also on the second page, we have provided a presentation to the Tribal Council for your use in talking to community groups or organizations that just gives an overview and the phase plan to the cultural tourism program. So if you have questions about that, please contact me or Talicia, but that is for everyone's use and should be pretty general in terms and available for you to use when speaking to groups, and we will update that as needed. We also completed the History on Main Street project here in Tahlequah, and a note on that, it was the largest turnout for that event that they've ever had. So we were very pleased with that result. Are there any questions about any of the other information?
Any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we just have this report 10 days prior, like the other reports, so we could go over it and have questions ready?
Was it not?
It's in the book.
Maybe I didn't catch it then. Okay, thank you. Sure.
And we'll continue to do that on an ongoing basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to old business, and there is none. So moving to new business. We have a presentation today from Mr. Kenny Tolbert of Tolbert Associates. And scholarship and recruitment activities, I believe, consulting, a firm that has been consulting with the Choctaw Nation, and some very interesting sorts of projects that we might want to consider as well. So, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm Kenny Tolbert. I'm with the Tolbert Company. I'm here to present a...
And I'm his computer guy.
Yeah, if you get fired up. Again, thank you very much for having me. I have a short PowerPoint presentation to give you. About 18 months ago, the Choctaw Nation approached me with some ideas and some problems they were having with some of their secondary school dropout rates and the kids and the issues they were having. So they started developing a program, and what I have done today is I've kind of taken that information and put it into a PowerPoint for you, so we can kind of go through it. The name of the project that we're running for the Choctaw Nation is the Advisement Scholarship Intern Program. See it, Steve?
No, I saw it this morning. You? Is it?
That's it. I've had the opportunity to briefly discuss this with Dr. Morton, but I have some more details this time from the first time that we talked. So, AIS, A standing for Advisement, S standing for Scholarship, and I standing for Intern Project. First one, Steve, right to the next one. The diversity opportunity. As,
You say you were the computer guy?
Yeah. My name is Steve Strong, and I work with Kenny.
One back. Yeah. One forward. Okay, the diversity opportunity. Corporate America seeks diversity candidates. As you probably realize, getting qualified diversity candidates is a goal of corporate America. Native Americans are in very high demand. Opportunities for Native Americans exist at all levels, and especially with the greatest for those with the most education. Demand exceeds supply. If you're an educated minority, there are tremendous opportunities for you. Finding these high-achieving potential students early is very important. Early being sometimes in the 8th grade, 9th grade, whenever you can get a kid's attention that, hey, college is coming around the future education opportunities are out there. Once found, what's the task becomes? Track the potential, encourage the students, support them, and match students with opportunities. And an opportunity is a pretty broad word here. There are summer programs, there are internships, scholarships, and we really have started doing this now in the 9th grade with the Choctaw Nation. The model program to follow is the Choctaw Nation Scholarship Advisement Program. I've been involved with them, my company's been involved with them for 18 months now in designing this program. What you see on the right is a home page of the full website that we have developed for them over the last 18 months, filled full of details of what the program does, what it's capable of doing, how to get enrolled, and become involved. Next one, Steve, can you? Okay, little success story. It was established in January 2007. Actually, some of the discussions were prior to that, but that's when the official kickoff was. There are now 1,200 students that have signed up for this program. It's increasing at 15 per day over the past 30 days. We've had 5,500 visits to the website since it's been up in 7 months. And here's a pretty good number. We've raised more than $700,000 in scholarship contracts in the last 7 months.
And I think, just to interrupt Kenny for a minute, one of the things that we hear more than anything else about this program, and put yourself in the shoes of a kid that's, let's say, sophomore in high school. Don't you wish that you had something like this when you were at that age? Somebody to advise you. I didn't, and I dare say a lot of people in this room didn't. So that's one of the things that we're hearing most about this program.
On to the next page. One of the things we do is advise kids. We try to get them to identify themselves. We try to push them to our website, get them to enroll, tell us where they are, where they go to school, what grade they're in. As much information as we can grasp from those kids. How do we find those kids? Every way possible. Press releases, tribal newspapers, newspapers within the service areas. However we can find these kids, high school counselors, whatever we can do. We've sent out emails to try to track these kids, and it's working. We've had, again, we're having over 1,200 kids that have enrolled into the program, have come to our website, filled out the information page. It's about 30 questions that we ask. Where do they go to school? What grade they're in? So we can track them and watch them as they go through high school. We're trying to push harder to get to the younger kids. We'd love to get down to the 8th grade. As they get closer to graduation from high school, that's when they start becoming enrolled. We're trying hard to get them earlier. We're trying to make them aware of the whole process, what they're going to do when they get out of high school, what's going to happen to me, where am I going to go. Too many of these kids, we find, don't think about this until it's too late, or they don't realize what opportunities are out there. So one of the things that we do that's been very successful is college workshops. Right now, we're running 3 per year down inside the Choctaw service area. We had one in Hugo last Friday, and we had 150 kids show up, all Choctaw students there. We talked to them about, well, a lot of questions, a lot of answers, but we have a presentation, we have a program we lead them through, and it talks about the expectations. What's going to happen to me in the 9th grade, the 10th grade? What happens when I start applying for college? What do I need to know? Tell me about the ACT. What's the SAT? What's required? What do I need to do? Well, one of the things that we do inside this is we have about a 2-hour presentation about the ACT. And we tell them what to expect, what they can do, the things they can do to prepare for the ACT. And we've had a lot of success with a couple of kids taking quite a few ACT more than one time, learning. We provide them information about where they can go, an online test, practice test, different things they can do.
I think one of the things we found is these kids are hungry for this information. We've been at it really 7 or 8 months, but it's kind of reached the tipping point. I mean, they have found us now, and it's been a combination of press releases, articles in the Choctaw newspaper, the Bishnek, and in other local papers. Plus, this is a program that goes beyond their service area. Any Choctaw student anywhere in the nation or the world is eligible for this program, and they've found out about it.
Yeah, we found out about it. I mean, we're working right now on a student to get that lives in Los Angeles, and we're trying to help get them information about a college in Santa Barbara that they want to go, University of California, Santa Barbara. Just provide them information. We're trying to find is there a Native American counselor there? What can we do to help this child to achieve their goals? We help a lot of kids. Kids come to you and they say, hey, I'm not sure where I want to go to school, either Texas A&M or Poto Albert Junior College. Well, you can't get on more opposite ends of the spectrum from that. So we try to help the kid understand what their needs are, help them hone down to some legitimate opportunities that they would have. I'll keep moving here. Summer programs. Tons of summer programs for high school kids and college kids are available. Anything from an art student. Cornell University has an art program for Native American kids. They don't have enough people apply. My son went to a program at Dartmouth for 5 weeks on business, completely paid for, no cost. These opportunities are out there everywhere. It's a matter of finding out about them and matching them up. Then I skipped ahead a little bit, match students to colleges and universities. We do a lot of that. We spend a lot of time counseling kids, direct one-on-one counseling, trying to help them understand what the true opportunities they have are with their GPA, with their desires, with their income, the amount of money they have available. Where can they go? Where can't they go? Things that they can do. Scholarship. The goal of this program, if it was initiated, was to obtain Cherokee-only scholarships from corporate, individual, and college sources. The Choctaw Nation has raised $700,000 doing this from those groups. It's not one more than the other. We've had a lot of vendors give us money. We sent out letters requesting funding. We've had vendors give us money. We've had a number of individuals give us money. We have a gentleman that we've only traded emails with. He's in Iraq. He established a scholarship for kids that potentially want to go to be in some kind of an armed forces situation.
He learned, this guy is a Marine Corps captain flying a combat helicopter in Iraq, and he learned about our program by reading the Choctaw newspaper. And he's the kind of kid that any parent would want to have, but he's funded a $1,000 a year scholarship for a Choctaw boy who wants to go into government work or military work or CIA or something like that. So that's the kind of stuff that's starting to come into us. People that wanted to give money to the Choctaws but didn't quite know how. We had a guy in Ardmore, Oklahoma, who handles Choctaw insurance account, and had donated or informed a scholarship at his alma mater, a little liberal arts college in Fulton, Missouri called Westminster, and was for a Choctaw student. Westminster couldn't find any. They were going to roll over the scholarship into their general fund until they read about our deal in the paper and got a hold of Choctaws and got a hold of us, and that scholarship's going to sit at Westminster now, and it's going to go to a Choctaw student. We didn't know it existed until he found this program.
It's a sizable scholarship, too, at $45,000. For instance, just yesterday, we just opened up the mail after their newspapers, the Advisement came out, and they had 3 checks yesterday in the mail, just sent to the program, just the general scholarship donation fund. So that's 3 kids. We're going to try to match them up for the kids that need the help. Down the second bullet point, database of internal and external Native American scholarships and funding. We have a database that we have built and are always building, and it's always in a growing state of scholarships and internships and funding opportunities. And these, obviously the Cherokee only would be for the Cherokee, but we keep a very good list of new scholarships that are coming out there. We're in contact with universities all the time that are saying, hey, I need more Native Americans. Here's a scholarship for you. We're starting to find a lot of those, and people are calling us now. The next page, I think I've already gone over some of this about the $700,000 that have been raised, and again, it's continuing to grow. It's growing at a pretty good pace right now. And just as a point of reference, we are talking to the Chickasaw Nation. We are not in them, working for them right now. I think there's a great opportunity for us there, and we will be. But they have 45 member-specific scholarships in place today for college students. The next one is internships. We search for internships. Internships and scholarships are becoming more aligned. Williams Company in Tulsa, they're actively searching for interns. Well, we've gone from them, we've talked to them, we said, here we are, we can supply you, tell us what you want. We go to our database, we match a student up to the university that they need, and we set it up. At the end of 1 year of a summer, then many times they'll offer a scholarship to that kid and hope to hire them at the end of the point in time. So your internships and your scholarships are getting joined now all the time. Just want to express to you, many opportunities exist for internships, and we're adding those to our database all the time. I talked a little bit about ACT and SAT scores. There's a lot that can be done to these kids, especially if you can get them early, make them aware, improve them, practice tests, raise scores. We have had a lot of success, and I'll show you one specifically here in just a little while that we've done. We do 3 of these sessions, up to 200 people per session. That's growing. Next year, we're going to do one in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and we're actually talking about one, the Choctaws, one of their largest population bases is in Los Angeles. So they're talking about actually doing one in Los Angeles. So this is a program that we deal with students worldwide all the time. These ACT workshops, college workshops, have been very successful for us, and we're drawing more and more kids. I'll move through this pretty quickly. It's a little bit about...
You need to let me talk here for a minute. There's something that didn't get said here up front, and maybe should, is how does Kenny Tolbert know about all this stuff? Kenny has a remarkable son. His name's Trent. Very gifted student. I don't know what his ACT score, but it's off the charts. When Trent was about in the 8th grade, he told his dad that he would really like to go to a really good school if he could get in. And Kenny just kind of became anointed with that and dove into this and didn't maybe have the financial war chest to send the kid to the school that he was qualified to go after. So Kenny became an expert on scholarships and dug into scholarships and went through databases of scholarships and learned this stuff on a first-hand basis. And the end result, Trent is at Dartmouth on scholarship. And one of the spin-offs of all that stuff that Kenny did and Kenny learned is the Scholarship Advisement Program for the Choctaw Nation, because the Choctaw Nation is helping send Trent to Dartmouth. So that's where this body of knowledge and expertise came from. It came from 4 or 5 years of Kenny with his nose to the grindstone trying to learn this stuff.
Thank you, Steve. And I'll tell you what, it was fun. I had a good time. I come from an education background. My father was a principal. My mom was a principal. My sister was a school teacher. They were all Northeastern State graduates. I'm the only person that wasn't, but I was involved with education because I was around it all the time. And I did. I spent a lot of time. I visited colleges, and I had attended 3 summer programs myself that were for kids. I got permission from the programs that could I attend because I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to know what opportunities were out there for my 2 kids. So, Steve, let's go on to the next one. Again, our company has the knowledge. We have the contacts. We have university contacts. We have scholarship contacts. We have summer program contacts. We have a database, and we'll show you more about that. We have continually built this database and we call it an opportunity database. Internships, scholarships, grants, fellowships, anything to do with Native Americans, we put it in our database, we monitor it, we watch it, and we try to find students, we try to match up to them. Document storage, it's very important. I don't know, but I mean, for you guys to, I'm sure there's a ton of paperwork that you deal with. We're totally paperless. We store everything. Nobody can get into any of our files. Everything's encrypted. We're very protective of our students and their personal information. We have a website that's specifically built for your program, and if you guys decide to do this, you have your own website specifically designed for the Cherokee Nation and its students. We have experience. We've been doing this. I got a lot of experience. My company's been doing it now for basically 1.5 years with the Choctaws. And it is, I am a Native American. It's a Native American-owned company. We have contacts. I mean, I pick up the phone. I can talk to people at Harvard, Dartmouth, Rice. College Horizons and Graduate Horizons are two of the best programs you can imagine for kids. They take juniors in high school, juniors to be and seniors to be, and they take them, and 60 colleges show up. It's a week-long program, and there's usually 2 to 3 sessions. There's anywhere from 60 to 120 kids show up, and they have them in different places. My son went to it at Harvard, and my son went to it at Rice, and he knew where he wanted to go and why he wanted to go to school after this. But the colleges come there, there's counselors, they teach the kids how to fill out their application, their financial form, on and on and on and on, and they do the exact same thing for graduate students too. So this is an opportunity. I know those people. I've actually gone to both of those myself and attended those for a week. I mentioned about our database. I can't tell you how this has really turned out to be good. The students come in, they put their own record in, we monitor them, the parents have access to it. We know exactly what the kid has. If the kid has a good, we get their grades, we ask for their grades, we send them emails saying, hey, you need to get this piece of document into us. We're paperless, but we really have a good system in place to monitor and watch all the kids. We have a click here now, and we don't have that, but I encourage you to go to the Choctaw Nation. You'll see we're all over their website. We're on the front page of their website talking about the program and what it does. Here's what we call the Opportunity Database. Get a little closer so I can see it. This is what our database looks like. On the left-hand side, program type. If there was a drop-down I could give you, it would say scholarship, internship, grant, summer program, and we could pull up all of these by the name of the program and see what they are. We tell you who they are, we tell you if it's a scholarship, we tell you their address, their email address, all the information, and the purpose, the goals, the eligibility, what it takes to get into this program. And like this one is a Morgan Stanley American College Fund Scholarship. It's on the right-hand side. It's $10,000 per year, 1 year. Tells us about the program, everything we do, and how many kids. So we monitor this type of thing, but in many categories: scholarships, internships, grants, fellowships, summer programs.
And this is constantly in development. We're working on it all the time.
We're always adding to it. And again, I want to go back to the document management. This is a lot of paperwork. We're totally paperless. We protect all the students' privacy rights. We understand that you don't want your kids' names floating all over the place, so we watch it, we monitor it all, and we're completely, and we handle all the regulations, the government regulations that are in place.
If you don't do this, you end up becoming a file folder, because each one of these kids' files can have as many as 25 to 30 different pieces of paper, from ACT scores to letters of recommendation to a wide range of things that you have to have on file for a college scholarship. But if they're not stored properly in encrypted file storage, then you're going to be in violation of some regulatory compliance somewhere. Plus, you're dealing with minors' records, so the getting that paper out of the office into a secure server and making sure that it meets all kinds of regulatory privacy requirements is a real must.
We'll go over this one. This is my son. He's 20 years old. He's in Dartmouth. He got himself with my help in Dartmouth. It's been a great person for us to follow. He is now up to, I think he's broken $100,000 in scholarships because we found him. He applied for them. We lined him up with him. He filled out the paperwork. We helped him, and he got the scholarships. There's no way that I could afford a Dartmouth for my son. And the cost of colleges are just exploding, as you guys probably already know. I know it's been a discussion in here in this room before, obviously. Here's another success story. Alicia Brooks, Durant High School. We found her about a year ago, and we could tell she was a sharp girl. She had a lot of potential. Started talking to her, started helping her with her ACT. We got her ACT score 7 points in the first time she took it. She's gone to 2 of our ACT classes. Sharp girl. We taught her to the College Horizon. She went to Harvard for the week. Now understands what she wanted to do, and if you look at what she says she wants to do, that's pretty good for a senior in high school to say they really have a goal set up like that.
Look at that goal. I want to be undergraduate degree in chemistry, minor in psychology, intends to become a pediatrician and a medical researcher in the field of autism, and she can say that about herself at 17 years old. That's pretty remarkable.
Lauren Palmer. The reason Lauren's up here is Lauren didn't exactly tear up her ACT. Wasn't a great student, but we could tell she was a great student. So she went through OU, made very good grades, and we found her an internship. She has now decided that she wants to go study meteorology. So we have found her an internship, and now she's on her way, moving towards her goals. There's a recommendation from the Choctaw Nation, the program director, about our program. I'm going to hand out here in a few minutes the full letter that this came out of, recommending us and what we've done and how successful we've been and what we're doing. And that's it. Answer any questions about the program? Yes? Oh, I got it.
Dr. Cobb.
I think Councilman Hoskin had his hand up.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I have a question for Dr. Morton. Dr. Morton, to what extent are we doing any of this in-house? And then secondly, to what extent do we have the capacity to do this in-house?
We're doing a great deal of it in-house, and I had a student who worked all summer on a scholarship guide, and which would cover some of the same type of material. Of course, we raised between $2.5 and $3 million for the graduating class at Sequoia this year. So I visited with Mr. Tolbert. In fact, I went over the print version of this about 3-4 weeks ago. I asked him to present a proposal, but I still have not seen a proposal. So.
And to what extent are we leaning on our vendors and people we do business with to help fund? I mean, we have a nonprofit, pretty education, and we're already leaning on those folks. Thank you.
Dr. Cobb.
First question, what tribe are you, a citizen? Choctaw. You are Choctaw. Do you envision, while I was looking at that, do you envision the possibility that, I know you're working with Choctaw, you've evidently presented the Chickasaw Nation.
We carried on conversation. I've not
presented to us. Do you envision any problems with us competing against each other for scholarships? You're dumping more students into the pool. Do you envision a time that all of these nations we're all competing in the scholarship limit?
Very good question, and there will be at some point in time that I won't want to do a lot more. I'm going to say, here are the people that I want to work with. But right now, the opportunities are limitless out here. There are scholarships going that are not being taken, just because there's not enough, no one to match up the scholarships with us. I want to make one more point. It's scholarships for students.
Mike's up there. I bet they want to hear you.
It's college opportunities too. It's matching a college with a child. So that way, there's not really that much competition, because you'll be surprised. As for instance, DePaul University, a great little university in Indiana, has a Native American scholarship. It's wide open, and they haven't filled it the last 2 years. It's just a matter of matching. So there's plenty of students. There's plenty of opportunities to match the students. But yes, to answer the question, yes, there could be competition at some point in time. But I also think there could be a strength when people find out there that I'm out there doing this, to get more of them, maybe get more money as it comes in.
Thank you.
Ms. Jordan?
I was just wondering, can you give us an idea of what the cost is for these services?
It can vary. There's a laundry list. It would depend on what. I could do a turnkey deal where we do everything for you, or I could do pieces of it to support maybe Dr. Morton and him setting up the staff. So I guess the list is, pick the menu items that you would want to do, and we could help you do that.
Any kind of ballpark figure?
The Choctaws right now, we're somewhere where they're spending about $10,000 a month. They have moved their staff down completely. They started off with 4 people. They're now down to 2 people, and we provide more services for them.
Ms. Fraley?
She asked my question, that you administer most of the program for the Choctaw, or do they administer most of it in-house themselves?
It started off, they were doing it in-house, but as over time, we have taken more and more of it over and become more paperless. And instead of them doing a lot of filing and watching, we're doing more of that now.
why did they turn it over to you? Did they not have the capacity to do it, or do you just naturally get there, or?
Well, I can tell you, we've worked hard on our database of information. We have lots of contacts and lots of information, and they don't have that. I've worked for 18 months to pull this up, pulled it together with scholarships and internships and fellowships and put them in our database. So that's information that you're not going to find anywhere else, or you're sure not going to find it collected at one place at one time. And we help them raise funds a lot. We help them raise a lot of funds. We go with them to meetings. They have a person that's in charge of raising funds. And they go with them to meetings, and I help them, support them, tell them about the program and what's going on. Let me make the difference. This is a good question, and I think you kind of hit on it. There are scholarships, and there are financial aid. And in the world of college, those are totally different. Okay, a scholarship is, sometimes it'll be college specific, but many times it'll be wherever that kid wants to go take that. And that is not financial aid. The $800,000 we were talking about was just scholarship dollars. We've raised lots and lots of financial aid. We don't include that number at all in our number. These are specific scholarships, not financial aid.
One more question, and this is Dr. Morton. How do you see this in regard to outside of the 14 county jurisdiction? How do you see this application of his program for those students that I'm sure you get lots of calls, just regular vote? How would this?
It would depend on what the cost is and how extensive the database is. I haven't seen anything, so I couldn't respond. There are many scholarship companies, many of them. Some are legitimate, some are have nothing more than what you could get from internet yourself. I don't know anything about this program, so I couldn't comment.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Watts. Thank you, Madam Chair. If you're not familiar with the free internet source for scholarships, there's fastweb.com, and I know it has some quirks, but it has an extensive database that's free and readily available to all students. And of course Google and such, but I'll also come to any community, even at large, and do a 2.5-hour personal scholarship presentation, as I was one of those students that I didn't pay for any school and received $0 or dime from the Cherokee Nation because I was successful in getting that much in scholarships for all my degrees. So I think any STEM degree, which both those examples were STEM degrees, they throw money at those students because there's that much money available for Native American students. The component that I didn't see that we don't have is the ACT part, but there is a consultant that's running around that some of my JOM programs have told me about, where the guy actually raised his ACT score like over 10 points. And we could hire that kind of contract person if that's a concern. But otherwise, I see that as stuff that we're already offering, and we could continue to offer outside of the 14 counties. Because we just approved in the budget a program that's kind of another component that was missing that would get volunteers out in the community for 7th and 8th grade to our students to talk about college prep curriculum and stuff. And I think it's important that we preserve the momentum that we've been doing in our public school outreach and how we're developing a bigger, better partnership using volunteers and mentors and our Cherokee Nation Science and Engineering Fair and some of those other things. So not quite sure about the presentation, but I'm pretty confident that we've got a lot going on in education that I'm excited about that's going to do what we've just heard about. So, and I'd like to see our Cherokee people continue to get employed in those positions and developing our own capacities. Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Fishing-Hawk?
Yeah, I think a lot of this kind of repeats what Dr. Morton's already done, and I know we scratched around during budget hearings to find the money to do the scholarships along with a couple other new programs. And I want to ask Dr. Morton if he thinks it's prudent right now, or does he want to go and think about it and come back to us later and say no, maybe, or yes, maybe?
Well, I'd be happy to visit with Mr. Tolbert. I'll give you some basic demographics before, and where I could review a proposal and perhaps present a proposal to you. But as I said before, all I know about the program is what you presented. I don't know anything about the program in depth, nor do I have information that would provide me budgetary decisions to make.
And I owe you that, and no doubt.
Yeah, and so I just, at this point, could not make an informed judgment.
Thank you. Councilor Soap?
Yeah, Ken, how many staff members do you have in your organization or your company?
5.
Okay, you have 5, and you said how many Choctaw students were enrolled in this?
1,200. But now they have internal staff that does some of this themselves.
A lot of this I saw was self-management of the data, the data entry and things like that. And I was just curious because for a second there, I saw that there was some interpersonal type monitoring process that you discussed. And can you discuss that a little bit further on how detailed that is? Because I do think that is a piece that we're missing in our educational programs that pursue these young kids, is that one-on-one interaction with getting these people lined up with scholarships. It may just be the area that I reside in or that I've had a lot of experience with, similar to yours. But back in the day when I went to school, luckily we had a counselor that cared a little bit about the students and their educational pursuits and advised us, or at least my experience was a positive one, on a large amount of scholarships. But I don't see that today in a lot of the school systems that I've been familiar with. And get calls about, that's one of the biggest complaints is that, hey, my kid missed out on this scholarship because they missed the deadline because the counselor maybe didn't follow up. And that might not be their responsibility. They think it's the parents. So I was just curious on how close your interaction is. If you've got 5 staff members, what kind of mother hen these 1,200 applicants, participants?
Yeah. We try to talk to every child that seeks to talk to us. If there's a desire on that kid's part at all to ask a question, we always answer that question. And back to your point about counselors, the counselors are handling too many kids. There's less counselors now at the high schools, and the counselors are not aware of these scholarships that we have. My son went through it, and they weren't out there. All the scholarships that I found for my son were nothing to do that came through the school. Those were all ones that we sought. We seek to respond to every single student. We have phone conferences all the time with parents and childs on a conference call, constantly talking about direction and ideas. So we try to answer every single one. The kids got to show some motivation on their part to call and ask us the right question, or we need to find out if there's a need, but we do.
Is that included in the basic package?
Yes, it is. I think that's one of the most important parts that we do.
Right.
Is the one-on-one counseling to the kid.
Excited about, but then all of a sudden I kind of geared towards this is a database and it's kind of self-management stuff, and again I think those are things that we're already trying to participate with in the nation and provide to our citizens. It's just this, I've got this heavy hitter right here that's available, and he's just either 7 digits away or go walk through his door, and all of a sudden it's like, bam, I'm talking to Harvard, and I'm next thing you know, 5 days later, I'm taking a trip out there to visit with some people. That's a whole lot different than looking at an internet.
No, we do. Alicia Brooks, the red-headed young lady that I showed up, we found her, we lined her up, and she took a trip to Dartmouth, paid for, completely done.
Right.
So, yes,
that's the experience
that's the experience that we're trying to provide.
But you don't hear about that all the time anymore.
The reason for the database is to give us base information about that kids before we carry on a conversation with them. What their goals are, what they think their major are, what their ACT is, what's their GPA, some base information. And then when we talk to those kids, we take notes individually on top of that about what went on, and we have follow-up conversations with those kids. So there's a lot of one-on-one interaction. One thing I encourage you to do, and I'll hand this out to you, I mean, you guys are very similar to the Choctaws in some ways, but I could show you their program and some of the things that they're doing and success that they had. And this program didn't start off with one path. It started and it varied, and we learned what needed to be done. And certain things didn't need to be done because it was a duplication of things they were already doing.
Mr. Baker?
Yes, actually, I was going to cover the same thing Ms. Fishbaugh covered, and I suggested get a proposal and work with Dr. Morton to see what part of your package that we could possibly use, particularly with our people living outside of the Cherokee Nation. Thank you.
Dr. Cobb.
You said one of the most important things you do is one-on-one. Walk me through, and I'm not picking on Adair County, but let's get that known because you'll know where I'm going with this. Let's get down. Adair, Sequoia, Delaware County. We've got a family. We've got a kid's full blood, doesn't have any experience. No one has any experience with college scholarships. And here's a child that's been identified as a high achiever. That they have some things they want to do. And my point is that walk me through how you, for lack of a better statement, how do you bridge that culture? How do you bridge that gap? Walk me through that.
Let's say that there's a kid, and the kid is a smart kid, and he might have taken the ACT one time in his junior year because a counselor in high school might have said, hey, you're a pretty smart kid, you got a 4-point. Let's have you take this test. The kid makes it, and he makes a 27. A great score, okay? We know some of the counselors that we deal with directly that would contact us. But what if that kid shows up to one of our ACT workshops, and he gets to listen to what we're doing, and he goes online and fills out a form for us. If it goes over a certain ACT score, it pops an alert to us, okay? So we know, oh, here's a kid in Adair County that's a 27, and we ask for his blood. He's a full blood. We know what he is. So we say, okay, how can we help that kid? So the kid's a junior, and let's say it's this time of year. Well, right now, kids should be applying to the College Horizons program right now that there's 60 colleges at. This kid would get in, he would get direct one-on-one contact with colleges, helping him one-on-one. There's a counselor for every student that goes to College Horizons. So he would get direct contact there. He would get direct contact from us because I'm going to be the one on the phone getting him into College Horizons. And once he goes to College Horizons, the whole world opens up. Yeah, you guys can try to get somebody in College Horizons too, but we would have found the kid. We identified the kid. We found him, and we locked it up to do that. Is that the kind of example that you're talking about? That's a real live example that has happened, exactly the way I described it to you, but it was in Durant.
Another follow-up, if I may. One of the problems that we seem to be having, and I don't think it's just us, I think it's just in general, is Dr. Morton's mentioned some of our dropout rates, some of it due to cultural differences, some of it just due to economics.
Absolutely.
Is there any tracking once they get in college? Tell me what happens after they're in college. I mean, we
track every one of the kids, especially
let's say there's a dropout. Do you follow up and say what happened here?
We do, and actually the Choctaws have another portion of this that I haven't talked to you about. It's a mentoring process too. Okay, if a kid is having problems and we find out about it, we have mentors in place from the Choctaw Nation to talk to those kids. Okay, so and also the kids that are on scholarship, we have to report those scholarships to the donors every time, what the kid's grades were, what he did, is he still enrolled in school. We make them do a resume for us, and we give it to the scholarship donor and say, here you go, here's the kid that you gave money to. So we have a tracking system in place through our database and through our scholarships.
Okay, that is, thank you.
I want to follow up on yours for just a moment also, and this may be outside the control of your particular program here, but when you talk about college horizons and making the visits to the schools, and say we have the full-blood student from Adair County that Brad is talking about here, that are there people on the other end that are part of that project who have some degree of expertise in bridging this cultural gap, that, you know, so that the retention rates, which are so appallingly low for Native American students in the first 2 years of college, that we can have from the get-go, right, before they're even accepted into a university. There's already a project of sort of acculturating the student from a small rural area like this into that kind of environment. Is something like that a part of?
Not all colleges. Not all colleges have that. Some colleges have those. I can tell you the ones that are really good versus the ones that don't have a program. Dartmouth has an incredible program, okay? My son is a member of it. It's been a great transition for him. It's been wonderful. It's been family for him to go there and be in the Dartmouth. Harvard doesn't. DePauw doesn't. I can go on and tell you ones that do and ones that don't, and help. And most all of those have counselors, and many of the counselors are already set in place for the Native Americans, and so it's there. It's a matter of matching up with the correct school with the child.
Councilor Hoskin.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Cobb's question piques my interest, and someone's got Dr. Morton's ear, but I was going to pose something to him. Dr. Morton, when you do get a proposal, I know you'll do an analysis of the cost, but also it seems to me if we can, you know, I know we have a network of mentors and that's growing, and I just wonder if there's something inherently more valuable in getting somebody out in that community that, the hypothetical Dr. Cobb is mentioning, to go out and to do the one-on-one, and with all due respect, as to have, you know, a paid staffer of this company to go out there. Certainly they possess some expertise, but it's something inherently more valuable to our community if we did it in-house and with our own people. So could you include that in your analysis?
Yes, we will. And one of the programs that you approved this week is the Cherokee Scholars Program, which is designed to approach the students that we normally don't approach, the C students. That package is for them. And on the other, we have added, a staff member to higher ed just for outreach in the 14 county area. Now, there still needs to be, granted, a better contact system for the at-large. There, a separate database or some mechanism for a more rapid response as well as resource availability for those students.
Thank you.
Ms. Fishing-Hawk.
Oh, mine was kind of along Chuck's line. I was just going to say, Brad, when I started thinking about it, and nothing to take away from your program, but if you come to my county, Dr. Morton is going to have a much better, and his group will have a much better relationship than somebody from outside in a suit. I'll tell you that right now. And that's kind of what I'm looking at it.
Other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Next on the agenda are announcements. Are there any announcements? Mr. Baker?
Yes. The week from this Saturday, the 27th of September, is a dedication ceremony at the Cherokee Removal Park, north of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this project has been underway, I followed it for the last 15 years. The local congressman from the area has gotten over $1 million in federal funding for it. And it's actually located at Blythe's Ferry, where the majority of the Cherokees, when they were removed from the Cherokee Nation, crossed out of the nation at that point. It's called the Cherokee Removal Park. And there's a luncheon at 12 with the dedication ceremony at 1:30. And the plane is available if none of us want to go. We'll throw that out. It's a week from Saturday. We have to leave probably 7 or 7:30 in the morning.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Our next meeting of this committee is on October 14th at 1 p.m. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move adjourned. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.